Hey, what's up guys, TechTime here, and I am back again with a brand new video. So before I begin this video, as always, I want to thank you all so much for watching my content. Listen, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you leave a thumbs up. I do really greatly appreciate that, and also make sure you subscribe if you haven't already done so. With that being said, I also have a couple of links in the description below, so check it out. So with that being said, today we're going to be reviewing or comparing more so, the Moto G Stylus 5G 2021 and the Moto G Stylus 5G 2022. So there's construction next door. I'm sorry about that. I cannot control that, but the show must go on. Okay, so we're going to be taking a look at and comparing both of these devices, and we're going to be breaking it down to a couple of categories. And the first will be the design and build quality and which one would be my preference for that, as well as the display, the performance, the camera, and we'll end it in a kind of a conclusion. So let's go ahead and start with the design, and we're going to put the 2022 Stylus 5G down for a little bit and talk about the design of the 2021 model. So basically it has this kind of a green hue to it, and it does pick up fingerprints like crazy. It is made out of plastic all the way around, so it's a big phone. It's a 6.8-inch display type of, so it's a big phone and it's grippy. Now it's not real, it is slippery, so a case is definitely highly recommended on that. And that back, like I said, it's a fingerprint magnet. So on the back you also have a quad camera setup with your LED flash, and the main sensor is 48 megapixels. We're going to talk about that later on. You also have the fingerprint sensor embedded within the Motorola logo. The bottom has a 3.5mm headphone jack, USB-C port, speaker, microphone, and the stylus. Okay, the side does have your kind of textured power button as well as your volume up and down, and the buttons are really clicky, tactile. They're really nice, so definitely quality. So yeah, that's really the summary behind the design and the build of the 2021 Stylus 5G. As for the 2022 model, I did a full review on it. I'll leave it in the description below. It kind of has a smoother texture on the back when compared to the 2021 model, and it still is made out of plastic all the way around. So they kind of changed the color of this one, so it does have this blue hue to it. And on the side it also has like kind of a, when you shine it under direct or under light, you kind of see this kind of green to brown type of color change, which is cool, unique, definitely neat. Now we also have a triple camera setup this time around instead of a quad camera setup, with a 50 megapixel sensor, and it does support optical image stabilization. And of course, the bottom of the phone has your 3.5mm headphone jack, USB-C port, microphone, speaker, and the stylus. So basically that's really the summary between the design of the 2022 model and the 2021 model. I do have to say this though about build quality itself. The quality of the last year's model seems to be better than this year's model. The reason I say that is because I discovered a kind of a flaw. So this phone flexes a little bit near the Motorola logo. I don't know how much this will bother people. I just wanted to mention it. It's not as rigid as last year's model, where it's just literally a little bit more rigid than the 2022 model. And that's just something that I wanted to point out. Now, as far as which one I would prefer personally, listen, looks are subjective. I am lenient towards the 2022 model just because it looks a little bit cleaner in my end. So the fingerprint sensor, I forgot to mention that, is actually placed within the power button of the device. So it's a little bit less clickier than the last year's model, but it also doubles as a fingerprint, so they kind of get a pass on that. And the volume up and down is just as clicky and tactile as the 2021 model. So really that's pretty much behind the design of both of these phones. As far as the display goes, the 2021 model does have a 6.8-inch 2400 by 1080p display, whereas the 2022 model has slightly higher resolution, but not really significant. So 2460 by 1080p for the 2022 model, and also does support a 90 hertz panel, which is missing on last year's model. So the display quality itself, though, it's pretty similar, right? So not a lot of advancements in the display, same resolution, kind of a similar quality. the reason that at this point I prefer the 2022 model is because it does add in the 90 hertz display, or 90 hertz refresh rate, I would say. As far as content consumption, it is about the same, so there's not really that significant difference. I'll let you guys listen to the speaker, that way you can compare. So let's start with the 2021 Stylus 5G first, and we're going to talk about this the speaker in a little bit as well. Okay, so here's what I do have to say about the speaker behind both of these devices. So the 2022 model does have a louder and a much more crisp sound than the 2021 model. So the speaker did get an improvement in that department. As far as actual media consumption though, if you're using headphones or you're listening to your content or you're watching your content through an external speaker, then the quality itself is just about the same at this point. So the 90 hertz refresh rate doesn't really change the experience when it comes to watching videos. Okay, so and that's really it between the display. Obviously, there's definitely been improvements on in the 2022 model where you get a slightly higher resolution, but not really that significant. But you do get a 90 hertz refresh rate, so that definitely brings up the display and makes this the better overall display. And the speaker is better, so that's also something to note. All right, so let's switch things up and talk about the performance of both of these devices. And we're gonna go ahead and discuss the spec sheet and then compare. So the 2021 Moto G Stylus 5G has the Qualcomm Snapdragon 480 5G chip, and it's based on a 8 nanometer architecture where it has 2 of the cores are clocked at 2 gigahertz and 6 cores are clocked at 1.8 gigahertz. You also have 4 gigabytes of RAM as well as 128 gigabyte standard storage, and there is an option with 256 gigabytes of storage and 6 gigabytes of RAM. So that's like the basic specs. And the GPU that this phone uses is the Adreno 619. The Moto G Stylus 5G 2022 edition has the following specs. So instead of there is a 5G version and there's a non-5G version. The one that I have is a 5G version, which means that it has the Snapdragon 695 5G chip, and it's based on a 6 nanometer architecture. And you also have 6 gigabytes of RAM with 128 gigabytes of storage, and there is an option with 8 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigabytes of storage. So basically the numbers and the GPU that the 2022 model uses is the Adreno Adreno 619 GPU. And the two of the cores in this device are clocked at 2.2 gigahertz, and the other 6 cores are clocked at 1.7 gigahertz. So basically, on paper, the G Stylus 5G 2022 edition wins. And I did a Geekbench, so let's take a look at both of these cores and compare them, and we'll do like a quick day-to-day test. Here are the Geekbench scores. So this would be the 2021 edition, and this is the 2022 edition. And you can see that there is differences in scores. So on the 2021 edition, you have a 501 single core and 1671 multi-core, and the 2022 edition has a 671 single core and 1905 multi-core. So definitely on numbers and on paper, the Stylus 5G 2022 edition is faster. Now, when it comes to the daily tasks, let me close out all the apps and we'll do a quick speed test. So things like your day-to-day tasks, so opening up the phone app, the messaging app, your Google Chrome app, it's clear that the 2022 edition is faster. But realistically, where you'll see an actual speed difference is in graphics performance, right? So the gaming experience and the actual speed when it comes to browsing the web, going through social media and things like that, the 2022 edition shines better than the 2021. So yeah, performance-wise, it's obvious the winner would be the Stylus 5G 2022 edition. Now, as far as the styluses go, so let's compare them real quick. So this is the Moto G Stylus 2021 edition stylus, and this is the 2022 model. Okay, so as far as weight, the 2022 edition is slightly heavier than the 2021 edition, and if you can see, there's a lot more plastic on the 2021 model than the 2022 model. So in the feel of the hand, this one feels a little bit more rigid and a little bit more high quality, but size wise they're the same. Tip wise they're the same, so they're pretty similar but pretty different in a way. So this one is heavier and feels a little bit more high quality. This one does have more plastic on it. But when it comes to the experience itself, you can actually cross use these. So it doesn't matter which one you use for which. Let's see. So they both have pretty similar options and similar things to So they both have a lot of options, a lot of things. So one of the cool features that I have and I like about the 2022 edition is the ability to search, right? So if we go to Google Chrome real quick, let's see. So I'm not sure if the 2021 model has that feature, but we can test it out real quick. Yeah. So in the 2021 model, you cannot search with the stylus, but the cool feature in the 2022 model is that if you go to your browser or you go to a search bar, let's say for example that you want to search something, you see it prompts you with this pop-up, so you can search, basically just write it down and type in what you want to search and it will search it. So that's a pretty neat feature that the 2022 edition has that the 2021 does not. And yeah, everything else though, it's about the same, so you can do pretty much the same things, and they didn't really change it up too much in the design, other than the 2022 model does feel a little bit more high quality. But everything else as far as features, it's not really the huge significant change. Okay, so now one other important category that we're going to talk about, which is or are the cameras. So the 2021 model does have a quad camera setup, whereas the 2022 model does have a triple camera setup. So this one has a 48 megapixel main sensor. In addition to that, you also get three other cameras. Two of them are a macro and a depth sensor, and one more, the last one, would be a 5 megapixel wide angle sensor. In the 2022 edition, the triple camera setup, you have a 50 megapixel main sensor with optical image stabilization, so that's definitely a big upgrade. And you also get a wide angle lens at 8 megapixel, and they did away with the macro lens and added a depth sensor only. But realistically, the macro and the depth sensor are almost useless, to be honest with you. They're just there, I guess, for aesthetics more than anything. So really the two main cameras that you need to be concerned about is the main and the ultra wide. And let me tell you something, that way I can just end it there. And I did a camera review, and I'll leave a couple of links in the description for that. But basically the bottom line is this: the camera on the 2022 model did receive a better upgrade, so it provides a much better picture and much better photo quality than the 2021 model does. And also you have a higher resolution 8 megapixel camera ultra wide, whereas this one has a 5 megapixel ultra wide. And you also get the addition of optical image stabilization. So camera wise, this one definitely has a nicer upgrade and kind of makes it a little bit more worth it, right? And you can see how much fingerprint I got on both of these devices, and I just literally cleaned them before the review. Okay, so let me end it on a conclusion. So let's put these phones down and let's do it this way. So as far as pricing goes, the current prices are this, and these are the ones that I have here. So you can get the Stylus 5G last year's model for around 200 bucks, and you can get the 2022 model for, it's a little bit pricey if you get the 8 gigabytes of RAM, but the 6 gigabytes of RAM, I've seen it for around 350 bucks. So for $300 versus $200, let's say for example that you're deciding between the two, obviously I would spend the $100 extra and get the 2022 model, just because it does have a 90 hertz refresh rate, it's faster, it has a better camera, and just overall a better package. Whereas the 2021 model, if that's the model that you have and you're thinking about upgrading, you have to think about a couple of things. One, do you need a 90 hertz refresh rate display? Because otherwise the quality is really similar. Two, yeah, the camera is a nice upgrade, but is it worth it to just go ahead and spend $300 extra on another phone to upgrade from last year's generation? That's up to you to make that decision. Me personally, if I have the 2021 model, I would be happy with it. I wouldn't need to upgrade, but that's just me on a personal level. If you feel like the camera is that important and you need to make that upgrade, then go ahead, go for it, because everything else just is the same, right? With that being said, I mean, let me know what you guys think. Do you think that the 2022 model is just worth the upgrade, or do you think that it's just an incremental change? So with that being said, yeah, let's end it here. I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you do enjoy my videos, make sure you leave a thumbs up. I really do greatly appreciate it. And also make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I will definitely catch you guys in the next video coming really soon. So thank you all for watching, and yeah, I will see you guys next time.